Good evening and welcome. Let the record reflect that it's Tuesday, January 19, 2018, 7:38 p.m. and I'd like to formally call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Here.
Trustee Panito.
Here.
Trustee Berg.
Here.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Glotz.
Present.
President Vandenberg.
Present, thank you. Item number 1, at this time I ask for a motion to consider approval of the agenda. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you. Item number 2, at this time I'd ask for a motion to consider approval of the minutes of the regular village board meeting held on June 5th, 2018, and the special village board meeting held on June 12th, 2018. Is there such a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Panito. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 13, item number 3, Trustee Brady.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to consider adopting resolution number 2018 R033, recognizing John Yucca on attaining the rank of Eagle Scout.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
John, why don't we have you come forward? You just stand here. Face that way. Whereas the highest award of the National Boy Scouts of America has bestowed upon the Scout is that of Eagle Scout. Whereas John Yucca has attained the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest rank in Scouting, and whereas John is part of Troop 380, sponsored by St. Elizabeth Seton Church, he has served as a patrol leader, historian, quartermaster, senior patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, and is currently junior assistant scoutmaster for the troop. And whereas John's Eagle Scout project, comprised of removing rust and painting the caboose displayed near the Tinley Park Public Library for the Tinley Park Park District. He tended to landscaping around the caboose. This project involved over 350 hours of work for the team that John led. Whereas John is a senior at Victor J. Andrew High School, where he participates in the choral choir, theater, speech club, robotics club. He volunteers his time at South Suburban Humane Society and participates as a Site Baldrix for the past 3 years. Whereas in order to qualify as an Eagle Scout, a young man must demonstrate outstanding qualities of leadership, willingness to help others, and superior skills in camping, life-saving, and first aid. Just a note, there's 365 qualifications in order to become an Eagle Scout. Whereas in earning the highest rank of Eagle Scout, John Yucca joins the elite and honorable fraternity that achieves the counts of a small percentage of the total population of the United States. But an extraordinary member of Eagle Scouts are among the nation's great leaders in business, government, education, and other sectors of our society. Whereas the achievement of Eagle Scout rank reflects favorably upon John Yucca, his family, his Scoutmaster, and his fellow Scouts. Now therefore, be it resolved by the President and the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tinley Park, Cook and Will Counties, Illinois, that June 19, 2018 be designated as Eagle Scout John Yucca Day in the Village of Tinley Park. And I urge all citizens to join together, congratulate John on his achievement of attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. Congratulations. John, how many merit badges do you have? 133. How many can you get?
139.
139. So that alone, just he looked at turn around. He's got them in the back too. Okay.
That's 2.
So and it's a long sash too. Connect two of them together. Congratulations.
Just like an Eagle Scout.
Thanks, Ed. I also just have a general letter that was prepared and will present to John here for just congratulating him on behalf of the mayor's office for your wonderful accomplishment and for your civic duty to this community. So thank you very much, John. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What? That used to be America, you sold it. That's right. Congratulations to both of you. Get around this thing.
Nice.
I'd like a personal plea to the members of his troop. I want to see each one of you guys back here as well. Okay, I see we have one Eagle Scout there. So we need 4 or 5 more here. Congratulations. Just for the record, I'm Boy Scout Leader, Troop 911, chartered by the Tinley Park Police Department.
I just thought you wore that uniform for fun, Bill.
It's fun when we have it on.
Understood. For the formality of that, for the adoption of the resolution, this will be a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. June 19th is now Eagle Scout Day. Item number 4, receive comments from the staff. Was there any comments from the staff? Pat?
Yes, just want to follow up on a press release that we had from over the weekend. We were notified by Cook County Animal Control of a confirmed dead rabbit that tested positive for tularemia. We put out a press release yesterday about it, and there's a follow-up press release that was posted to our website and webpage today with some directions from Cook County. And it's just to emphasize, if you find a dead rabbit or carcass or animal, on how to dispose of it properly, and that we ask that you not call Cook County or Tinley Park. If it is on private property, that they do give directions on how to remove it. But there is no health emergency, just that it did test positive for this type of virus.
Thank you for the update. Anybody else from staff care to comment on anything?
Yes, as part of the mayor's inaugural presentation this evening for our Business Spotlight, it's a new program where the mayor wanted us to recognize our new businesses as well as support many of our existing businesses. We have a representative from 2 Men and a Truck here this evening, Paul Brown, who wanted to make a brief, quick presentation on his expansion and location here in Tinley Park.
Paul, you want to step forward and stand by the microphone?
So is this the first one that you've done?
This is the first one.
I'm honored, thank you. Yeah, Renee from Patrick's office contacted me, and I appreciate this opportunity. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about 2 Men and a Truck, how we ended up selecting Tinley Park. 2 Men and a Truck's a franchise moving company. We've been in business for 30 years. We have 400 locations. We're international. We have locations in obviously the United States, but United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada. I've owned franchises with 2 Men and a Truck for about 10 years now. I love what I do. It's different. What I love about it is it's different every day. You know, we move people for very good reasons. They're getting married, maybe they're having a new baby, getting a new house, but we also move people for, you know, not so good reasons. You know, they might be getting a divorce, they might have lost their job, seniors might be getting moved into assisted living. So I do love the customer interaction aspect of it. I started with 2 trucks back in 2008 with a location up in Elmhurst, and now I have 5 locations and 30 trucks. We were looking for a location to combine some of our facilities, and Tinley Park was one of the places that we looked at. We were looking at Mokina, we were looking at Frankfurt, we were looking at Orland, where I have a location now in Orland Park. And you know, the reason why we chose Tinley, one was the location. Initially, it was the location of Tinley itself. We're in the service industry, so we need to be close to our customers. Obviously, there's a cost to travel to customers' homes, so it's very centrally located for us. We got I-80 right there. It's easy to get to the city, the southwest suburbs. And really, you know, one of the reasons why we did choose Tinley is Tinley's a nice city. We could look at industrial places like Midlothian or Oak Forest or Matson, but our customers, I guess, more or less kind of judge us by where our location is. So to say you're from, you know, Tinley Park versus, you know, Matson, or, you know, not that Matson's not a nice area, but Tinley's just got a very good reputation to it. So that was one of the reasons as well. I am purchasing a property. I'm developing a piece of land to have a parking lot in it as well. And you know, from the research I've done, you know, on my own and with my real estate agent, it's a good place to make a real estate investment, you know, as well. What else? You know, and those are the reasons why I initially chose to relocate to Tinley Park. But once I got into the process, the people, the staff, they're great to work with. Patrick has been wonderful. When I was first looking at Tinley Park, he was very welcoming. You know, normally, you know, I'm a small business, and normally, you know, big businesses get all the attention, but I got treated very well from, you know, Patrick. I'm working with Kimberly Clark now and Dan Ritter on the site plan, and I've never done that before. It's new to me, and they've really held my hand through the process of the paperwork to submit, and the, you know, if you're asking for variances, and you know, and that's on the back end. I didn't choose Tinley because of that, but it's a nice group of people to, you know, to do business with. So, any questions? I know part of this is to learn why people
You want to give us your new address?
What's that?
Your new address?
7420 Duvon Drive
There you go.
over in Tinley Park. So, oh, you know, I guess I left off, you know, services that we offer. Obviously, we do moving, storage, we do local moves, we do interstate moves where we cross state lines, you know, packing, unpacking, you know, you name it, and we'll pretty much do it. But I appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate how nice it's been to, you know, work with you guys on the 6B program, and like I said, the site plan that we're working on. So I definitely appreciate everything.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank
you
you.
very much for seeing opportunity over there in the historic industrial area of Tinley Park and Duvon Drive. I know that we're hoping that this is a good stimulant for other development over there in industrial, and we're happy that you're having a good experience here. So thank you very much.
It's been great. Thank you for everybody.
Welcome to town. Tell your friends.
Thank you.
So we will be featuring a business, hopefully every board meeting, under Business Spotlight. This will be spearheaded by Patrick in his office and Renee, so we'll be bringing in not only our new businesses, but supporting our existing businesses.
Appreciate it, Paul. Thank you. And Pat, keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Anything else from staff? Reference to comments this evening? All right, if not, we'll move on to item 5. Sorry, is there anything else? You got
Just
something?
a couple project updates, thank
Sure.
you.
Sorry.
Last meeting, we mentioned that the fountain was completion of manufacturing. I got confirmation last Friday that it is on the truck from Texas. We should be seeing it either tonight or tomorrow morning rolling into town, and they will start construction on that immediately. We are unloading it directly to the site. We have the sanitary sewer project on 167th there about Nottingham has been completed, and they're going to start patching the open holes in the roadway. That was extremely deteriorated to the point where the top of the pipe was falling through. We had the Hickory Creek sanitary repair that has been replaced with the manholes, and that lining has been done. And the lining from 175th to 167th of the same sanitary line, televising has been done, and we're looking for maintenance recommendations for upcoming fiscal year here.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the update, staff. Item 5, receive comments from the public. Any comments from the public regarding anything that you have to wish? Thank you.
This is concerning item 8 coming up. Mayor Vandenberg, were there any other candidates that submitted resumes you deemed to be qualified to fill the open trustee seat?
Certainly.
Was John Curran the best fit for your organization?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Niemeyer, according to a column written by Mike Nolan of the Southtown, a judge has ordered a settlement conference between the DOJ and the Village of Tinley Park. But from what I understand, that a judge did not order the settlement conference. The village asked for it.
We're not going to
No, according to attorney, the judge.
discuss anything that has to do with litigation, sir.
Will Ms. Conley be participating in the settlement conference?
We're not going to
I don't think we should comment.
Yeah, we're not going to comment any further on anything that's discussing
But she is a
litigation.
party to the lawsuit.
Did the executive session recordings requested by the DOJ have anything to do with the village asking for the settlement conference?
We're not discussing anything that has to do with the case, sir. It isn't active litigation.
Okay, with all the costs that's cost us taxpayers between attorney fees and settlements, we could have actually paid for all the police men that were recommended by the police study. So all this money, I wish we didn't have to be wasted on what's going on, but it's still going on. But I hope the truth comes out.
Very good. There's no other comments. We'll move on. Item 6 this
Mr.
evening.
Mayor, can we excuse the Boy Scouts?
Well, certainly. You guys are excused.
I was going to say they got homework to do.
Now, it's summertime. They're going to play on their computers if they're anything like my kid. Video games. Yeah. I think the Cubs got some of their events are not supposed to have electronics at all. That's one of their bylaws, yeah. It's a good thing. The kids, when they're like at the camps and stuff, they're not supposed to have any electronic devices, so they're not supposed to have computers and that kind of junk.
We do an outdoor, I'm a co-sponsor, an outdoor club at school. There are times we don't allow it either, because it defeats the whole purpose.
It's the whole purpose. They're all just sitting there looking at their phone.
Thank you. Have a good night. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Maureen Dillon. I just wanted to come up and give some thanks to some village employees and some elected officials. As some of you might know, my 8-year-old granddaughter, Kira Fitzmaurice, and 2 of her friends, Sophie and Colin Cascato, had their 5th annual lemonade stand this past Saturday for charity. And I wanted to give a shout out to Chief Reeder, who's been very supportive, always comes out, makes sure that the troops come out, meaning, the fire department and whatnot stops by. I wanted to thank Battalion Chief Captain Ken Reamer. Same thing, he comes out every year to support her, make sure that the shift crews come out and, roll up and support her. Retired Tinley Park police officer Dennis Mahoney, the firefighters, Kurt's ambulance employees, they're very supportive. They come out every year too and support her. Trustee Glotz volunteered for the 2nd year in a row to grill for the first responders because we feed them lunch at the lemonade stand. And then a Tinley Park resident by the name of Jennifer Mina. She's actually a professional photographer. Thank you so much. She volunteered her services for the day to come out and take pictures all day, and she donated her services. And she made fantastic, like hundreds of pictures, and she sent them to us, in a portfolio, and that was very, very nice of her.
That's great.
And then all the citizens that donated or provided, support, whether they stopped by or just sent, a message of, good luck and things like that. And then I just wanted to say, too, that the charity that she picked this year was Midwest Barbecue for the Brave, which is a charity that's actually based out of Frankfurt. and they raise funds to build homes for catastrophically injured veterans. And so my granddaughter set a goal this year of $2,000, and we don't have the final numbers yet, but I can tell you she blew past $2,000. So, but I wanted to thank, like I said, the fire department, the police, the Kurtz ambulance, and everybody else. So thank you very much for the support.
Thank you very much for sharing it with us. Yes, sir.
So it's been over 6 months now since I initially brought to your attention here the need for a pedestrian crossing sign here at 163rd and Oak Park Avenue. When I initially brought it to your attention, apparently no one thought it was necessary to make a note of it, either by the trustees or by any of the people sitting in the 8 chairs here. And it wasn't until a few months after that, when I was registering a complaint about being treated rudely by one of the departments here in the village with Pat Carr, that I believe that the request started to finally get some traction. And I know that Pat Carr, in your most recent correspondence with me, that you said that the pedestrian crossing sign, it's coming, but I mean, it's almost July. We still don't have a pedestrian crossing sign. A simple pedestrian crossing sign. It shouldn't take more than 6 months to get put up.
I can answer that.
Sure.
I can answer that. The roadway's been under design for a year. There is going to be a new crosswalk put in. It's not going to be at that location. So that's why it's not there. It's designed, construction started in July. Crosswalk is going to be signed and have a crosswalk. And we're going to put an additional sidewalk in by Village Hall.
So there was no need to put in a pedestrian crossing sign at the existing one? We're just going to wait until the other one?
Street. It's not really supposed to be there. So that's why it's been redesigned. There's going to be a
But that's where the current one is, right?
Right. That's why with the new design, with the multi-use path, we have to move it. So it's going to be put up starting in July, the construction starts.
Okay.
And
Is
it's
that
restriped and resurfaced and a 10-foot multi-use path on the east side of the street.
Well, that seems to contradict what I had received via correspondence, that was going to be taken care
I
of.
can tell you that what the design is, what the response when he asked me is, we can't put that up because it goes through the middle of the street. It's got to go per the design for the traffic designers. So we want it legally put in where it needs to be at.
I think if you look at other things that the village does to help ensure traffic safety, pedestrian safety, that we still put up signs, even if they're just going to be temporary, or we put up other markers to help improve safety as opposed to just waiting. Well, that's going to be done years from now, so we're not going to worry about that now. So I think that in this case, you're not being consistent with other policies in putting this pedestrian crossing sign on the back burner. If it's too inconvenient or too expensive to install a regular pedestrian crossing sign, there should be some type of temporary solution we can do until all that construction and the redesigning and re-engineering gets going. So, and even with the anticipated redesign, it's still 6 months is too long. The fact that nobody ever made a note of it the first time it was brought here to the board's attention is just a shame. We can do better. So I hope that you'll be re-examining this process of when you're alerted and someone needs to take ownership of these requests delivered here at the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other comments, I'll move on to item number 6 this evening. They ask for a motion to consider approval of the following consent agenda items. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Item A, consider request from Tinley Park Youth Baseball to conduct a Queen of Hearts raffle through December 31st, 2018, with the maximum value of the prize not to exceed $25,000, and the winner being drawn weekly at Durbin's Tinley Park. Item B, consider Resolution 2018-R-034, authorizing an agreement between the Village of Tinley Park and Commonwealth Edison for the recreational lease. Item C, consider approving the professional services agreement between the Village of Tinley Park and Backflow Solutions Incorporated online to provide and maintain the secure online database to ensure a functional RPZ and backflow device assembly tracking. Item D, consider request for a block party permit on Saturday, June 23rd, 2018 on Creekside Avenue between 170th Place and 169th Street from 12 p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Item E, consider request for a block party permit on Saturday, July 21st, 2018 on Arlington Street between Princeton Avenue and Everton Drive from 12 p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Item F, consider request for a block party permit on Saturday, August 18th, 2018 on Kinsale Drive between 9024 and 9138 from 12 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Item G, consider request from United Service Organizations of Illinois Incorporated to conduct a raffle through July 14th, 2018, with the winner being drawn on July 14th at Apple Chevrolet. Item H, consider request from People's Animal Welfare Society Animal Shelter to conduct a Tag Day fundraiser on July 28th, 2018 and July 29th, 2018 at certain intersections in the Village of Tinley Park. And lastly, item I, payment of outstanding bills in the amount of $2,103,347.80 as listed on the Vendor Board Approval Report dated June 8th and June 15th, 2018.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Does anybody care to remove any of these items? Let the record reflect there's none. Please call the vote.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to consider adopting Resolution 2018-R-032, declaring July 23 through July 27, 2018 as Municipal Treasurers Week in the Village of Tinley Park. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Again, this is to consider declaring July 23 through 27 of 2018 Municipal Treasurers Week and to extend the appreciation to the members of our Finance Department and to all municipal treasurers for the vital services that they perform and their outstanding dedication to the communities they represent. And I'd like to formally read the resolution into the record. Whereas municipal government, in order to best serve the needs of the citizenry, must be operated with efficiency and in orderly and trustworthy manner. And whereas the efficiency and order with which government carries out its public functions is strongly reliant on procedures and financial records. And whereas the municipal treasurer administers the procedures and keeps the financial records. And whereas all monies received into municipal treasuries and dedicated funds are used only for specific purposes. And whereas all municipal treasurers are the official custodians responsible for proper management and investment of these funds. And whereas an organized source of financial knowledge about a community and its government activities is vital to the smooth governing of that municipality. And whereas the municipal treasurers provides and maintains such a body of knowledge. And whereas the strength of local government depends upon the citizens' opinion of it, and such opinion is formed largely by the image set forth by the municipal government's employees. And whereas the municipal treasurer is one of the municipal officials most closely in daily contact with the citizenry, and therefore is in a key position to mold sound public opinion. And whereas it is the most appropriate that we recognize a historic municipal office which grew out of the traditions of our democratic heritage. Now therefore be it resolved by the President and the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tinley Park, Cook, and Will Counties, Illinois, do hereby proclaim this the week of July 23 to July 27, 2018, be known as Illinois Municipal Treasurers Week in Tinley Park, Illinois, in recognition of the vital services they perform and the outstanding community dedication they exhibit. In testimony, therefore, I have hereunto set my hand and as my official signature and caused to be affixed the seal of the Village of Tinley Park, State of Illinois, this 19th day of June, 2018. Congratulations, Brad, and to your entire staff. Thank you very much. What this resolution doesn't talk about is the fact that not only is he an excellent keeper of the funds of the Village of Tinley Park, but he has a plethora of knowledge that he continues to share with all of us about the history of this town. And it is an extraordinary amount of information that I've learned over the course of the last 3 years that I find completely amazing, Brent, that you know all that. So we greatly appreciate all the dedication and hard work that you and your staff put into this town. I know we talked about it through budget cycle. The citizens and this board and the staff are very lucky to have you. So congratulations to you and to all your fellow treasurers.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a roll call, right? You can call a roll on that? Yeah, we'll call a roll. For fun.
Trustee Yonker?
Yeah.
Trustee Panito?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Glatz?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 8. This time I'd ask for a motion to consider the appointment of John Curran to fill the unexpired term of Trustee Michael Mangan. Is there such a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded was by Yonker and Brady. The vacancy in the office of village trustee was created as a result of the resignation of Michael Mangan as village trustee, which was effective May 21, 2018. Pursuant to state law, the vacancy is to be filled by the mayoral appointment, subject to the advice and consent of the Board of Trustees. If an appointment is approved by the village board, the new trustee will be sworn in accordance with state law. As was mentioned earlier, there were several resumes that were issued to the mayor's office. I think I addressed it last time. There was 3. That ended up being 2, but then we did receive, I believe, 10 after that. So somewhere around the 15 mark, I think, was the final total. What I could tell you is that John Curran, besides being a fabulous resident of Tinley Park, he built the Tinley Park Park District up to be the world-renowned park district that it is. He executed sound fiscal policy, directed the board to make some strong decisions to bring the park district to the future. I don't know many people that can actually complain about the services the park district provide. Being a father that will have 2 children that have gone through the preschool program at the park district, from that level all the way up to the development of the Bettenhausen park and swim center. It's just extraordinary. So the opportunity came up. Mr. Curran submitted his resume. He is fully credentialed when it comes to running a government. He could sit down in this chair this evening and I feel hit the ground running. And I think that's what this board needs. So I would ask that you please consider his appointment this evening. It's been moved and seconded. We will call a roll on this, please.
Trustee Yonker?
Yay.
Trustee Panito?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Glatz?
Yes.
Motion will carry. Congratulations, John. And I think we're going to do the formal swearing in right now. If you'd like to come forward, stand in the front of the seal here.
I state your name.
I, John Curran,
Have been appointed to the office
have been appointed to the office
of village trustee
of village trustee
in the village of Tinley Park,
in the village of Tinley Park,
in the counties of Cook and Will,
in the counties of Cook and Will,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of village trustee
of the office of village trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. No offense to the rest of the board, but we finally found somebody that dresses better than me. So some quick procedural things here. John Curran is officially sworn in as village trustee at appointed position by myself. John, you're not under no obligations to vote on anything this evening. I think it would just be best to abstain. I understand that it was the information, you do have some of the information, but it would be best practice to go ahead and just abstain from those this evening and get yourself acclimated and ready to go for next meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Just want to make a comment real quick, Jake.
Sure.
The only thing I would suggest moving forward, if this ever arises again, John's a great selection. I think we should do that at the beginning of the meeting until we're midway in. See him sit there, when he's going to get appointed, all his paperwork, he's ready to go. I think we should appoint at the beginning of the meeting if it's possible. Maybe after you approve the agenda. Just something to consider.
I don't see a problem with that whatsoever. I hope that we don't have this position again.
Right.
But, yeah, and I mean, the clerk's office could take record of that, and I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. So.
Yeah, it's just not, sitting out there, he should be up there.
Point taken. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, Trustee Glatz.
Could open the water, there's a lot. I'd like to make a motion to consider ordinance number 2018-0-31, approving a fence variation to permit a 1-foot height variation with a maximum allowable height for a fence within the secondary front yard is 4 feet.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Cindy. The petitioners, Jennifer and Gregory Roberts, are seeking a variation of 1 foot from the zoning code to permit a fence to be constructed 10 feet within the required secondary front yard that will exceed the maximum fence height of 4 feet. The Zoning Board of Appeals held on a public hearing on May 24, 2018, voted 3-1 to approve the fence variation. The approval was conditioned upon one item, the proposed 5-foot fence being open style as defined by our zoning code. This ordinance is eligible for adoption.
Thank you, Trustee Glatz. Anybody from the board care to comment on this item? The record reflects there is none. We'll go ahead and call roll, please.
Trustee Yonker?
Yay.
Trustee Panito?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Glass?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
You didn't call Curran.
Yeah, you probably should call him in the record. He's got to abstain then. Yeah.
Understood. Trustee Curran?
Abstain.
So we have 5 yeas and 1 abstention. Thank you. Yeah, the rest of it. So, thank you. Item number 10, Trustee Glatz.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2018-0-036, granting a special use permit with exceptions to allow a new wireless facility, Verizon Wireless, within the ComEd easement located at 8201 West 183rd Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Brian/Bill. The petitioner, Brian Donnelly, on behalf of Verizon Wireless, is seeking approval for a special use permit for the construction of a new wireless facility located within the ComEd easement at 8201 West 163rd with the following exception and conditions. 1, a 61-foot height exception where the height limitation for a freestanding tower is 100 feet. 2, the proposed 6-foot fence shown on the plans around the equipment shelter will be comprised of a taupe-colored vinyl privacy fence. 3, the proposed masonry shelter's brick facade will also be taupe in color to match the 6-foot privacy fence around it. 4, outstanding public works and engineering items must be addressed prior to the issuance of a building permit. This will allow Verizon to install 161-foot riser pole tower with an existing ComEd transmission tower and the construction of a masonry shelter to house-related equipment enclosed by a 6-foot privacy vinyl fence. This ordinance is eligible for adoption tonight.
Thank you, Trustee Glatz. Any comments from the board regarding this? Is up for adoption this evening?
Just one quick question. The text here doesn't mention the vote of the ZBA. I know I asked you about it earlier, if we could.
It's mentioned here 3-1.
Thank you.
3-1, thank you.
That was Plan Commission or was it ZBA?
That was ZBA.
Any other comments? Very good. Please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker?
Yay.
Trustee Panito?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Glatz?
Yes.
Trustee Curran?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 11, Trustee Glatz.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 2018-R-040, approving the agreement between Main Star in the Village of Tinley Park for building permit and code compliance software.
Is there a second? Thank you, go ahead.
Thank you, Brian. The village's strategic plan identifies several goals for the Community Development Department, including work to analyze and improve our building reviews for quicker, more expedited permitting. To that end, staff reviewed existing protocols for building permits and discovered the most significant encumbrance to efficient processing was the current software system. Community development staff assembled a team late last year to investigate various software packages, and in May presented to the Community Development Committee their preferred vendor, which was Mainstar. The committee authorized staff to finalize the agreement for board approval tonight. The selected software will improve permitting, inspection, and plan review services in the Community Development Department. It will also result in improved customer service by allowing for payment at the Community Development reception area and increased efficiencies with shorter permitting processes. The agreement outlines the various costs, licensing, maintenance, and support, with the total first-year cost of $124,500. The approved budget provided for $150,000 for software and $50,000 for maintenance. Therefore, the agreement will represent a savings of roughly $75,000. Paula, do you have anything that you want to add to this?
Yes, we're very excited, obviously, to get this to the end. We did get a proposed schedule by Mainstar today that we're going to look at beginning right in July and do a cutover by the end of late October. Before I thank the committee, I also want to point out that we have assigned a project manager, Jean Bruno, our office coordinator, who's here this evening. She's going to handle all the orchestrating of getting our information into the new software, as well as handle all the training of staff. So I want to thank her for stepping up to take that position. And then I also want to just thank the committee, because without them, this couldn't have gotten anywhere near to where it is after this long process. Our new IT director, Michael Thomas, was indispensable in looking over the contract. Hannah Lipman was wonderful in organizing us. And then we had representatives from Finance, Ruth Gibson, GIS, Kyle Malmberg, Public Works, John Urbanski, Fire, Dan Reardon, our Code Enforcement, Ken Karzewski, and Kimberly Clark also helped out as she came on board. So thank you to all of them, great team effort, and what we're going to see some great efficiencies, and I think the public will be very excited about being able to come back to our reception area and pay for their permits there, where they pick up their permits. So thank you.
Very good, thank you. This is a roll call, expenditure of funds. Roll call, please.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Curran.
Abstain.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item 12.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 2018-R-038, approving the professional services agreement between the Lakota Group and the Village of Tinley Park for Harmony Square Design Services.
Is there a second?
I'd second that motion, subject to attorney review, though.
Our attorney read it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions with that, anybody? Go ahead.
Earlier this evening, we were given a presentation by the Lakota Group on the development of the Plaza Design and Programming Guide. The next step in the process is to finalize the design and prepare construction drawings. The proposed agreement for Lakota Services not only includes the design and construction drawings, but will also take the project through the bid process, construction observation, and closeout. Lakota has submitted a not-to-exceed amount of $180,000 with an estimated $9,000 in expenses. Estimates for specialty sub-consultants range in the cost between $260 and $335. These costs do not include engineering costs related to the public improvements necessary to service the plaza. There is $8 million budgeted for the design and development of the plaza. This resolution is eligible for adoption.
Very good. Any comments from the board? Nice presentation, Nicole. Thank you very much, Mr. Ferris. This is a roll call, subject to our attorney review. Please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Curran.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 13, Trustee Yonker.
I'd like to make a motion the board consider approval of certain vehicle purchases under purchasing cooperative bidding schedules.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
In the budget for the fiscal year 2019, there are several vehicle replacements approved as part of the capital replacement budget under the village's purchasing policy and in accordance with state statutes. Governments can utilize pricing obtained from other purchasing co-ops, both in-state and nationwide, in lieu of preparing individual bid specifications for each piece of equipment. Pricing for each vehicle will be found on a cooperative purchasing schedule and have been determined to be the best pricing available for the respective vehicles. The schedule below provides a summary of the price, source, vendors, and vehicles, and estimated costs. In some instances, a second vendor is listed for specific accessories installation. The final cost will not be known until the purchase order has been placed. As noted, there are sufficient funds budgeted for these vehicle purchases in the fiscal year 2019 budget. These purchases were discussed at the Public Works Committee meeting held Tuesday, June 12, 2018. Consider authorizing the listed vehicle purchases from the identified sources at a total cost not to exceed $1,126,245.
Very good. Thank you, Trustee Yonker. Any comments from the board? If there's none, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Curran.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 14, Trustee Yonker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion for the board to consider adopting resolution number 2018-R-036, approving the service agreement with Telecom Innovations Group to provide and install phone system PBX phone and voicemail replacement in all village facilities, installation and performing of all the programming.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Tinley Park has requested the services of the Municipal Service Consulting to evaluate current phone, voicemail, and infrastructure within the village facilities. After a thorough evaluation and existing system capability requests for multiple departments, requirements for the system's redundancy, concerns of systems obsolescence, and failures to the existing voicemail system, a RFP was made available for the solution recommendations. The current system has been in operation for over 20 years with ongoing maintenance and equipment failures causing outages. 3 submittals were received, evaluated, and individually interviewed with review committee and recommended Telecom Innovations Group for awarding contractor. This item was discussed at the Public Works Committee meeting held on June 12, 2018 and recommended for approval.
Thank you, Trustee Yonker. This is an expenditure of funds. Are there any comments from the questions from the board?
Any idea when we're going to get all this equipment?
Yes, with the approval of the contract tonight, we're going to release the initial order, and they estimate the installation to begin in the next couple months here. I believe the contract spells out for a 90-day return on the information.
Oh, good. Okay.
Nothing else. We'll call the roll, please.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Curran.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 15, Trustee Yonker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion the board consider approving a change order with PT Farrell Construction Company for the fiscal year 2019 PMP Street Resurfacing Program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Earlier this year, the village awarded a competitively bid contract to PT Farrell Construction Company for the pavement maintenance resurfacing of selected village streets. The village has decided to add approximately 0.9 miles of street within the Odyssey subdivision, which will complete the maintenance resurfacing of all the streets within the subdivision that meet the obligations of the village agreement with the homeowners association. All future building permits issued for the subdivision will be required to provide a cash bond that will cover any damage done to streets during the construction activities. The village treasurer has confirmed that sufficient funds are available in the Odyssey Street Maintenance Fund to cover the change order for the amount not to exceed $215,000. The village finds the following related to the change order. The circumstances necessitating the change order were not reasonably foreseeable at the time of the contract was signed. The changes affected by the change order are germane, and the original contract is signed, and the changes affected by the change order are in the best interest of the village and authorized by law. This item was discussed at the committee of the whole meeting held prior to this meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Yonker. Again, we have an expenditure of funds for the PMP Street Program. Any comments from the board? It's discussed thoroughly in committee of the whole. Very good. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Curran.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 16, Trustee Yonker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion for the board to consider adopting Resolution 2018-R-039, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the Board of Education of Consolidated High School District 230 regarding the installation and maintenance of a public safety bidirectional amplifier.
Is there a second?
Second.
The Village of Tinley Park and the Board of Education of Consolidated High School District 230 have discussed a partnership opportunities to install and maintain a bidirectional amplifier for public safety radio frequencies. The current construction of the facility make RF signal transmission and reception with the dispatch center nearly impossible. The facility was surveyed by local radio technicians and a solution was recommended. The parties shall mutually agree upon the location of the bidirectional amplifier within Andrew High School. Employees of the school district shall physically install the cabling, antennas, and equipment necessary for the BDA to become operational. The total cost is $40,397, with each party responsible for one half of the cost of the bidirectional amplifier. This item was discussed at the Public Safety Committee meeting held on April 10th, 2018, and recommended for approval.
Very good. Any comments from the board? Let the record reflect there's none. Please call a roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Pito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Curran.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 17, Trustee Yonker.
Consider ordinance number 2018-0-035, amending certain section SOF of the Tinley Park Village Code, eliminating yearly appointment requirements for positions under the department head level.
Is there a second?
Second.
The village has had a long-standing unusual practice of requiring every full-time employee to be appointed annually. In order to improve recruitment and village employee morale, the village manager has recommended only continuing the annual appointments for village manager, department heads, and positions like village attorney and engineer that are required to be reappointed every year. All new non-civil service full-time hires will continue to be appointed by the mayor and approved by the village board. This item was discussed at the Committee of the Whole on June 5th, 2018, and recommended for approval.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Trustee Yonker. This is up for first reading this evening. There will run through what we're talking about on this ordinance, but this has been going on a lot longer than our previous meeting. I believe that I talked about it about a year ago in May. And this would be a good morale boost for our staff. Any comments or questions from the board? Reflect all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Abstain.
We have 4 yeas, 1 abstention, and 1 no vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 18, Trustee Yonker.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to the board to consider resolution number 2018-R-035, appointing Governmental Consulting Services of Illinois as village lobbyist.
Is there a second?
Second.
President Vandenberg would like to reappoint Government Consulting Services of Illinois at the village as the village lobbyist. Their retainer is a rate of $3,000 per month, which means they will do as much work as we ask them to do in accordance with as outlined in the agreement for a fixed price per month. GCSI provides the service of lobbying in the county in addition to the state, and also provides the village board with quarterly reports. This item was discussed at the Committee of the Whole held on June 5th, 2018, and recommended for approval.
Thank you, Trustee Yonker. And I think we discussed this last meeting. Our lobbyist this past year has been very active in letting us know on what's going on legislatively, both down in Springfield, but as well in Cook County. There's been a lot of active bills and things of that nature that have been being hard pressed down in Cook County and Springfield. So they've done a great job so far in keeping us apprised of what's going on. They've also been assisting us with the mental health center and that whole process with CMS. So I appreciate you considering their appointment. This is a roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
No.
Trustee Curran.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 19, Trustee Panito.
Ask the board to consider approving the purchase and maintenance contract for 7 printers/copiers from Martin Whalen.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
The Village of Tinley Park owns 18 printers/copiers used to assist in the operation of critical business functions. IT has created criteria along with our preferred business partner, Martin Whalen, to define when a printer/copier is close to the end of its life and needs replacement. Martin Whalen as a Xerox company can participate in State of Illinois Co-op negotiated contract 072691100. This negotiated contract acts as a sufficient cost comparison backup to ensure the village is receiving a reasonable price from our vendor. Martin Whalen's estimate for 7 printer copiers is $59,000. Funding is available in the fiscal year 2019 capital budget. Maintenance is included in the fiscal year 19 budget. This item was, I guess, discussed and recommended for approval at the Committee of the Whole held June 5th, 2018.
Thank you, Trustee Pino. Again, expenditure of funds this evening. Any comments on the board? Thank you. Please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Kern.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 20, Trustee Brady.
I'd like to ask for a motion to consider adopting resolution number 2018 R-037, awarding a contract to Kurtz Ambulance Service for emergency medical services.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead, Mr. Brady.
Thank you. The village current emergency medical services, EMS, contract expires on July 31st, 2018. In April of this year, the village issued a request for proposal, RFP, for EMSs and received proposals from 3 EMS providers. Kurtz Ambulance Service was deemed to have provided the village with the best proposed based on their RFP requirements, current village work history, and the cost proposal. Under the item of the proposed contract, the contractor will remain 5 ambulances dedicated to the village. All ambulances serving the village will be housed in the village fire stations. The terms of this agreement will be 3 years from August 1, 2018 through July 31st, 2021, with 2-year renewal options. This item was discussed at the May 15, 2018 Committee of the Whole meeting and recommended for approval. Please consider awarding the contract to Kurtz Ambulance Services for emergency medical services is not to exceed the amount of $1,313,955 without EMD, emergency medical dispatch, and $2,058,611 with EMD over the initial 3-year term of the agreement. The resolution is eligible for adoption.
Any comments on the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Kern.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 21.
I'd like to make a motion to consider approving a contract for the lease purchase of a temporary firehouse structure from the Mahi USA Fire Station 47, formerly known as Fire Station Number 2.
Is there a second?
Second.
This request includes a 12-month lease of a construction trailer for the crew accommodations and for supporting materials to place the trailer on a new fire station site. The cost is approximately $18,900 difference from the amount approved on the June 12, 2018 Public Safety Committee meeting, taking into account the Village of Tinley Park prevailing wage ordinance, which was not included at that time. Please consider approving a contract for this lease purchase of a temporary firehouse structure with the Mafi USA in the amount of not to exceed $206,000.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. Is there any comments from the board? We have an expenditure of funds.
I've just got a question. I was at that meeting. So the bid is still the lowest, right?
Yes. That is correct.
Okay, I'm just, because that 18,000, that threw me for a loop.
Thanks to our construction manager and Deputy Director Urbanski, we identified that the prevailing wage requirement was not included. That does, they were now a state company, and we took care of that by making that adjustment.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Kern.
Abstain.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item 22.
I'd like a motion to consider ordinance 2018-0037, amending certain sections of Title III, Chapter 33 of the Tinley Park Village Code entitled Police Department, pertaining to the creation of the position of Police Commander.
Second.
Go ahead.
The village is looking to bring the police commander into a current budget, as well as hiring another commander to replace retiring Deputy Chief Laura Mason. This is a management position that should be recruited through a normal internal village recruiting process, as was done in the past with this position previously existed. However, the current village code states that only the police chief and deputy police chief can be hired through the normal recruitment process, and other police positions must be hired through Civil Service Commission. The Civil Service Commission process would also add months to this recruitment process. The item was discussed at the Public Safety Committee meeting held on June 12, 2018. This ordinance is eligible for adoption.
Trustee Brady, comments from the board?
I know we've got this commander, I guess, kind of a job RFP or whatever we call it. I don't know if we could put in there some kind of, with the minimum qualifications, that's some kind of satisfactory performance assessment. You know how we did with the fire chief? He had like the questionnaire to see how he'd react in certain circumstances, just to make sure that the person is actually up to the task. Some type of baseline.
Like an assessment center? Is that
like an assessment center. I'm not suggesting that this position should go through civil service, because I get that it's different than that, but some type of base testing to make sure we've got the right candidate that could make those decisions as we want them to be made.
I mean, it's not something we typically would do for a position like this. I mean, we talked to the chief and myself and HR director. Typically in a situation like this, the head of the department would interview all the selected candidates, make a recommendation to the mayor. I mean, I have the confidence that, the acting chief will, choose the two people that he think is best, and I don't think we should really be dictating exactly how he does it, in my opinion.
I'd have to agree with Trustee Finito that we should go through some type of assessment center, Dave. I mean, state police, you can't move up through the ranks unless you go through a rigorous course. There's usually 4 to 5 different types of scoring. There's psychological, there's physical, and also, in order to be a commander, you would have to be a sergeant first. So this means anyone could, if you have 3 years of supervisory or 5 years as a police officer, you could become a commander and outrank a sergeant who's gone through testing. They've gone through command school. They have a whole bunch of other different supervisory roles. There's no supervisory. I mean,
there is a requirement in there.
yeah, there are a couple. There's one.
Again, it's up to the board. The statement I make is that you've got a department head. I think you've got to give them some leeway in what they pick, and we haven't done assessment centers for positions like this. For a senior level department head, makes a lot of sense. This is what we talked about. This is what the chief has recommended, what he'd like to do. I support that. The board wants to go a different direction. Then
Chief, you want to add to this?
Sure. Once again, for me, I want the biggest pool of candidates I can have. I want 5, 6, 8, 10 guys. So part of the reason I didn't say only sergeants, because I can't predict how many people are going to be interested. They have personal things, they have different things going on in their lives. Just because someone would have the capability of being that person doesn't mean that's who necessarily we would accept. That doesn't mean that's necessarily who I would pick. There's a process for doing this. I make a recommendation. The mayor then appoints them, and then you, as a board, vote on that. If I'm correct, that's the process. Correct. There's a 3-step prong to this that we all have that opportunity. Now, I mean, as I explained to Dave, this is how the process is usually done. In 22 years as a police officer, command positions, typically speaking, are done by whoever the chief is. He picks his command staff so that you have the same direction that you're all wanting to go. I wouldn't have any issue with, once I've gone through the list of people who have put in, if we have plenty of time for this. I mean, the next board meeting is not until July 17th. After we've made the selection, I'd make those recommendations to the mayor, sit down and talk to him why I made those selections. I would assume that the board would want to know why I made those selections, and I'd make myself available to you guys to discuss it. And then once again, those candidates, once again, I would think would do the same thing. Before you guys vote on them, you'd want to talk to them and ask those kind of questions that you'd want to know what their qualifications are and what they would want to do. Like I said, I don't know of an assessment process for a command position. I'm not saying that someone somewhere hasn't done it, but it's not, in my experience in 20 years in law enforcement, I've never, for a commander position, that is typically not done to my knowledge.
I get
There's
that,
the
but
answer.
the time frame that they have in here is almost like 2 weeks. That's on my piece of paper. It's 16 days, just over.
Way I would understand it, like I said,
I'm just going by the paper I have.
Well, the way I would understand it, we'd put out the ad on tomorrow. We'd give them a couple weeks to submit their applications and their interest. I would then sit down, review those, pick the ones that I think have those capabilities based on working with them for the last 20 years, select those people who I would think would have capabilities, do an interview process, and all of that would be done, I would assume, by the second week in July-ish, and then we would still have another week where they could come in if the mayor wanted to speak to them, if board members wanted to speak to them, if you wanted to speak to me about why I picked who I picked. I think we'd have a way of going about this. This isn't, just because I recommend someone doesn't mean that's who gets selected. I mean, that's just my recommendation.
So do you envision just recommending one candidate or several
I would
candidates?
say, I'm assuming two.
The problem is, so go ahead, Mike.
And so you're suggesting that once you narrow it down to two candidates, that we could ask them situational questions, what would happen if there were a fire and you were 2 people short type of thing? We want to find the person who could make those proper command decisions in the proper circumstances.
I think that is a reasonable ask that we could certainly do. If that's but we could have those presented by our staff. We could do that in an interview if you'd like. If that's going to appease the board, I don't see why. Yeah,
I think it should be
it's a
done by the
little-
professionals. That's why they have assessment centers. You could probably call the state police.
But
If
this
you don't know
is-
any, they could.
Well, I
I'm
can say,
confused on the assessment center aspect of it simply because, I mean, we're talking about managers, right? I mean, when Charles was promoted to deputy chief, did you go through an assessment center?
No.
Pat Carr, when you were appointed to assistant village manager, did you go through an assessment center?
He's not a police
Well,
officer.
but they're management level positions.
We usually go through the ranks, so without somebody having to have been a sergeant, there's no supervisory.
I guess I'm.
Maybe, unless I'm missing some, explain, where's the supervisor, if you have not been a sergeant, where's the supervisory,
Because you could skip a
qualification.
couple levels. And
Exactly.
we don't know necessarily that person
I mean, that's gonna kill the morale of the police.
could be a good manager. Well, morale aside, I mean, you want the best possible person. That best possible person is an could potentially be an unproven entity. He
So,
doesn't have that.
I guess
management
back to the
experience.
point, though, is that, I mean, the gentleman that we have tasked to run our police department right now is going to be making that recommendation based upon his 20 years of experience. Apparently, we don't trust that then.
Well, I'm not saying that. I feel a little better, though, myself, if that person were to do some type of a assessment where, like the fire chief, he went through this kind of group of questions about certain circumstances and how he would react, and that would give you just that added layer of confidence that you had the right person.
That's fitting to a department head, fire chief, police chief. We're talking about 2 steps down from that in a manager point of view. I mean, I'm taking my direction from the 2 gentlemen that are running the departments, not, like this is drafted, this is in draft form, and it does say tentative next to the close date. I just wanted that for clarification.
Problem is when he retires, I thought we're not gonna fill the deputy chief position. We're gonna go to commanders.
No, we were limiting 1 deputy chief position. There was 2, and that's what this ordinance is basically if you read the ordinance.
That's all
it's
right.
discussed.
And just so you're not put, it has nothing to do with the chief. We have nothing but utmost respect for him.
I wasn't
But
suggesting that. I just was using it as an example, as another form of promotion, didn't go through assessments. That's all I was suggesting.
It makes it another form of an appointment process instead of going through the ranks of, for anyone to be considered from inside that hasn't been a sergeant, or anyone from the outside that hasn't been at that level. Yeah,
and I think
this
that's
is I think this is
speculative.
watered down.
I think it's purely speculative based upon not having any information on that. I mean,
The skills are effective record keeping.
But I suppose we'll find out when we have.
Yeah, I think
people
just a
submit.
couple other points.
I don't know what else to say.
Could I ask one final question? Is this the final vote on this tonight?
Can
we just see what the cost is and maybe if it's a cheap thing?
This document that was on the dais when I came up, that you're not voting on that tonight. So you're voting on an ordinance. If you look at the ordinance in your packet, the ordinance amends the code and creates the position.
Right.
How you want to go about recruiting it, interviewing for it,
Still left to be.
But it
Okay.
creates the position then.
And it takes it out of civil service.
You're creating the position. This you're not voting on tonight.
No.
Understood.
How you want to handle it is.
Right. And I included that because in talking with both you and Trustee Glotz, I know you wanted more information.
Right, it's certainly relevant
So
that it's
that's
here, yeah.
But a couple other points, and I think situational questions, I'm sure, we can work with the chief on that. The assessment center that we did for the fire chief, we're doing for the police chief. Remember, those are pretty much all external candidates. I mean, those are people we really have a very low base of knowledge on, which is not the case when you're doing an internal recruitment. And the second part of it is just, right now, we have 3 senior police management positions. We have 1 filled. And I think there's some urgency to getting this done. And so I really think we just need to move forward with this.
There is an urgency, Dave, but like it says right here, assume command of the department when designated in the absence of the chief of police. So, they're next in line to run the department, so why would... The deputy chief's never mentioned in here.
But what if it reads
So
this?
why would we not have them, since they are so high up in their non-civil service, why would we not go through an assessment center to make sure we got the best
I
candidate?
just explained it.
One thing I would say, and I said, however the board or however you guys decide to pick this, as someone who I finished number 1 on my list, that was on a written test. That doesn't mean a whole lot. I would think 20 years of what their work history is, like they said, these are people who have been in this department for a long time. I can pick anyone, and they can do really well on an assessment center in 1 day and look really impressive. I can pick someone off the street and make them look really impressive in 1 day's assessment. I think 20 years of their work history, of what they've done, what they've accomplished. And I think you guys have every right to ask those questions about what they've done over their 20 years. But that should, or 25, or however long they've been on the department, that should weigh more than what someone arbitrarily says to
But
an assessment center.
here's my concern in a nutshell. If the chief is out, and the deputy chief is out, and this is the guy who's in charge. If somebody on the street's got to make a call, they're the guy they're going to call. I don't want him making an off-the-wall call that's going to...
But what this resolution is asking for,
I
Mike.
think that potentially this assessment center may be able to identify the calls they would make in certain situations.
This is what I'm going to propose. Let's simplify this really quick. First, the item that we're discussing tonight has absolutely, as the counselor just pointed out, has absolutely nothing to do with this draft.
This is just to create a
In order to
position.
even consider the draft, we need to pass the ordinance to allow for the position to be available.
Right.
And that was per the staffing study. This is why we're doing this, right? Let's separate the conversation. Then I would suggest that if there's suggestions that you want done to this, send it to the village manager. We could go ahead when it's posted. You could take all the applicants, give us their suggestions, and then I suggest that we have an executive session. We could discuss it in an interview process with the 2 candidates that you narrow it down to. The board could ask all the questions they want. And then from that point, the direction could be made by the board, and I could bring it forward for an appointment. Let's not make this difficult. We're talking about men and women who have been, as Chief just mentioned, that have been participants in our public safety in Tinley Park for 20-plus years. I think it's pretty simple.
One last comment though, Chief. But look how it worked out for you. You finished #1 in your assessment. And where are you now?
Yeah, and I can.
Where are you now?
I'm not, I
Well,
don't want
there
to.
wasn't an assessment, that was a test, first of all. He already identified that he wasn't a part of an assessment. He was #1 on his test.
Yeah,
So back
there
to
was
the
no
point.
assessment.
All right, this has been moved and seconded. This is a roll call. Please call a roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Curran.
Abstain.
That motion will carry. Manager, you can go ahead and execute as needed. Item 23, receive comments from the board. A couple of quick follow-ups from myself. Monday, or pardon me, was it Friday? It was Friday we had a meeting with one of the gentlemen that was representing from Cruise Night, Mr. Kennedy. Came in, discussed their issues, piggybacking on the meeting that was held last Tuesday. Unfortunately, tonight I think it was canceled due to weather, but the plan that has in place, that was put in place, they were very receptive to, and it still provides us with a safe environment for people to attend as well as people that are participating in the event. So we're looking forward to see how that rolls out. My second point is, it was mentioned already, the next board meeting will be July 17th. So public service announcement, we will not have a first meeting in July. That being said, happy 4th of July to everyone. Hope you have a safe holiday with friends and family. My third point, on Friday, our assistant village manager is entering his nuptials with his fiance, and I would just like to personally congratulate you on embarking in that endeavor, and we wish you all the best to you and your family, Pat. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I got.
I have one comment. I would like to bring a up-to-date. The chief has been working, and he and I have been talking about this, about our new fire truck.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. Fire Department just happy to announce that we'll be taking delivery of our new engine sometime next week. It's finishing up some local dealer activities and that, and be the first engine we've purchased in about 11 years here in the village, so we're looking forward to adding that to our fleet. And sometime around the 4th of July, the board and the residents should look forward to seeing it out on the street, starting to do some training and some equipment swap over before we fully get it into service. So great cooperative effort between the Firefighters Association and the village to make that happen, and we're very excited to have that part of our fleet. So,
well, the pictures you sent me, it looks great.
Sure does. It's going to be a nice piece. Thank you.
Anyone else on the board care to comment?
I just real quickly wanted to welcome John Curran aboard, and I've known this man for about 17 or 18 years. I worked with him on the Park District. He was the guy we counted on to get things done and get them done right, and for the most part, he never let us down.
For the most part?
I can't remember any circumstances. When you look at the things that we have in town, we have what I think is a first-class fitness center. We've got a first-class pool. We've got some great things that wouldn't have happened without him. I remember going by the Park District when they were building it, and it'd be 10, 11 o'clock at night. He's out there personally inspecting the building that they did the day before. It's just a different role. You're not going to be inspecting, managing. You're going to be, kind of legislating. So good luck, welcome aboard, and just for all the folks that submitted resumes, I think that's a testament to our village. There's some great people that applied. It just shows how much quality, how many quality people there are that care about our town. And finally, Mike Mangan, I think he was just great as a manager and administrator, and especially with this personnel business coming, he's going to be missed. But a lot with one thing, but mostly thanks and welcome aboard, John.
Thank you. Hopefully I won't let you down.
I'd like to congratulate John as well. I haven't known you as long, but every time I've seen you, you've always been nothing but cordial. I appreciate that. And I think, like, the dovetail off of Mike with all your budgeting skills and everything, I think having you take over and do the finance with all our numbers, I think you should walk right into it.
Thank you.
Very good. There's no other comments. This time I'd ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss the following. Sorry, we've got a couple items on here. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, or legal counsel for employees of the public body, or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. B, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. C, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes or approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06, and D, litigation when action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry and will be in executive session. Nothing shall follow. Thank you. Have a good night.